We are in. Oh, yeah. Okay, so
Maybe I can
let's
just
give.
let them know. Welcome. Welcome everyone to today's session, deep dive into Starknet development. I'm thrilled to see all of you here again, ready to deep dive into the world of coding in Starknet protocol. Last time we laid a foundation and a groundwork on Starknet layer 2 and why Starknet is significant compared to the other protocols. So today we are going to dive deeper and build on the foundation that we already laid 2 days ago. So yeah, I welcome our trainer to today's session to take it up. Before he just takes it up, we are also going to share a link to the documents of Monday's session so that you people can have access to the documents. And as usual, again, we are going to share the link to the attendant list. So just keep watch on the comment section so that you can have access to these two documents. Thank you so much. My name is Harriet. Over to you, Dalmas. Take up the stage. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Welcome again to today's class. And as we had said yesterday, we are going to start the real thing, that is learning what Starknet is, how it works, and also setting our environment ready to start writing some Cairo code. So without further ado, let me present my screen and we get started. Okay. So this is what we have today. That is a deep dive into Cairo and the Starknet. Yesterday we said Starknet is a layer 2 to Ethereum that is there for scaling and also security. And today we are going to learn deeper on how Starknet works and also how to get started writing some code. So introduction, Starknet is a decentralized ZK rollup over Ethereum. It enhances Ethereum security and uh, scalability. So how does Starknet work? Starknet itself has a few components that makes it work the way it works. That is achieving scalability on Ethereum. Those components are a sequencer, approver, Cairo VM, and also some part of a verifier. Okay, a verifier. So what is a sequencer? A sequencer in Starknet takes on a pivotal role of overseeing the validation and execution of transactions and also proposing blocks. So what it does, it's the first thing after the main pool that sort of arranges those transactions and also proposes blocks. The primary function of a sequencer involves grouping transactions and processing them as a collective entity. So that's the first part, a sequencer. And after sequencer, we have a approver. And approver is also another tool or another component that helps Starknet achieve its goal, and that is generating proofs. And also, so after generating proofs, it also creates like the execution traces that will be used by the verifier on the on Ethereum mainnet. We also have a Cairo VM. A Cairo VM is the one that's going to generate those proofs cryptographically and also sign them as they are required correctly. So the Cairo VM sits in a approver and also it sits in the verifier in order to sort of link the two things together. So let me present another thing here from Starknet itself that illustrates this better. So I'll stop screen sharing, then share this other screen. So I think my screen is up. So if you go to starknet.io, that's the main website, scroll down a bit and go to how Starknet works. Here you'll be able to see a few critical things like these 4 chapters. So the first chapter is to explain how sort of the entire thing works. On chapter 2, that's where we work on or we see something to do with the sequencer. So here, if we read further, you'll realize that sequencers take a pivotal role on overseeing the validation and execution of transactions. Their primary function involves grouping transactions and processing them together as a collective. The unsuccessful transactions are flagged and held back by the sequencer. So the sequencer first flags those transactions and holds on them, allowing only the successful ones to move forward and get included in a block. Starknet sequencers can handle substantially more transactions per second than Ethereum nodes. So if somebody asks, how does Starknet achieve scalability? So it achieves that by using the first tool or the first component we have seen here as the sequencer. And after that, we have a prover, Starknet prover. The prover establishes the mathematical validity of blocks transactions by generating a stack proof, thus ensuring its integrity. So blocks are organized into groups and processed concurrently. And if we read further, we realize that the prover documents each step of the transaction, and also it generates something known as an execution trace. So this execution trace, along with tracking the resultant changes in the system state. So we also have something called like the state diff, that is execution thread. It also sort of tracks all those things. And after that, an algorithm then meticulously blows up and mixes the data from the execution trace. These steps bring any issues to the forefront, as even a single instance of bad data contaminates the entire expanded data set. So the prover then selects a set of random samples from the blown up data to create a stack proof. This stack proof asserts the validity of thousands of transactions. So that's the next component called a prover, generating proofs after going through each transaction and picking a few of those transactions and generating a proof for the same. And finally, we have secure settlement on Ethereum. So this portion is where we talk about the verifier. So the stack proof and the state diff are transmitted to Ethereum as a transaction. So both the proof and the state diff generated by the prover are sent down to Ethereum as a single transaction, where an Ethereum node accepts the transactions and unpacks the proof and the state diff. These unpacked components are processed by 2 Ethereum smart contracts. The first one is called the verifier and Starknet core. So the verifier contract breaks down the stack proof and analyzes samples within it. So you do realize like now once a proof is generated here and everything sort of bundled together in transactions, the execution trace together with the state diff are transmitted down to Ethereum. So the verifier picks those like the state diff transmitted down and it breaks down the proof and analyzes samples within it. So it will sort of analyze a few samples within it. Any hint of problematic data in the samples of the proof leads to prompt rejection by the verifier. So the verifier also verifies if the blocks are correct before proceeding to giving or sending it to Starknet core. Once the proof's validity is confirmed, it advances to Starknet core smart contract. So that is sort of the flow of transactions. So you send a transaction to the mempool, the sequencer picks them from the mempool, arranges them, checks for transaction validity also, arranges them into blocks, proposes new blocks, sends that to the prover, and from the prover, they are sent down to Ethereum, that's now to L1 as a single transaction. That also where the verifier picks up the transmitted value or the transmitted data, expands it, tries to read the samples through given to it, and also using like linking the proof and also the data transmitted. And if it's correct, it proceeds to send the data to Starknet core smart contracts. So what does the contract do? The core contract verifies the proof's authenticity and confirms receiving the state diffs. The state diff. That's the work of the core contract. Subsequently updating the Starknet state on Ethereum blockchain. So that's where the state is updated. Starknet state is updated since a user, okay, from the point the user started doing the transaction. Next, this updated state is then added to Ethereum block, distributed across node network for validation and voting. When the block accumulates sufficient votes, it achieves finalized status, cementing its place as an immutable part of Ethereum. So we have seen how the transaction flows, and also we have seen now where Ethereum, if you have heard of Ethereum staking, so these transactions are sent from Starknet down to Ethereum. Once that happens, they're on Ethereum mainnet. Those blocks are distributed across the network for validation and voting. So this where proof of stake and all those things come in. And once that or once a given block accumulates sufficient votes, it achieves something called a finalized status. So what is this? If I go to Voyager.online and open something like this transaction here that's been done like 3 minutes ago, you realize we have something to do with the received, then accepted on L2, then later accepted on L1. That's the next state. And after that, we have another one. So this entire process takes about, I think, 6 hours. Let's look at a finalized transaction. So we'll click on view all transactions and go to like something that was done like, okay, I think it's best I go to a page quick. For example, if I go to page 100, can be able to get some transaction. Yeah, so let's see whether this transaction has been finalized. Also, this one has not been finalized. So I think I'll go to something like page 1000. They'll be able to see a finalized transaction. Yeah, 7 hours ago, this one. So you realize that we have like a reverted transaction here. So this one might have been reverted on the sequencer level or on the block level. I think on the sequencer level, because on the prover level, okay, let's just look at this transaction here. Okay, accepted on L1, not yet. Is it 12 hours? Okay, let's increase our page here to go to page 2. Okay, not 2, but rather 2000. I'm wondering why these transactions are still showing. Yeah, so this one has already been accepted on L1, meaning the last portion we were talking about, the finalized status, has been reached by this transaction. It usually takes something like 6 hours, so that's why the 7 hours I was like, okay, why has in the transaction like finalized? So that's the flow of a transaction. So once you do a transaction, it will take some time before it's completely accepted on L1. So if there are any questions here, somebody can ask on the chat and I'll be able to answer. So going to the next portion, we have Starknet stack. So the Starknet stack is like actually it's the same thing like the sequencers, provers, verifiers. So what do we have as examples there? For the sequencers, we have Madara. Madara is the recent sequencer on Starknet. And also we have Stackware sequencer. This was the first sequencer built by Starknet to handle the initial transaction. Madara before I think it was like a node, but now it's a sequencer. No, not. I don't think. No, that's not the thing. Madara before I think it had another role before Synapse chain, but now it's a sequencer. Then later on it will be a full node. I think that's the flow of things. So next we have provers. The common proof on Starknet is called Stone, though we have Platinum and others. And for the verifiers, just the verifier. So the verifier stays on Ethereum mainnet, and also it runs Cairo VM, same as the prover. So Cairo VM is sort of there between in the prover to generate proofs. Cairo VM sits in between the proof and also in the verifier in order to generate. Once the prover generates a proof using Cairo VM, the same VM will verify the proof on Ethereum mainnet. I believe that's the flow. So, and also once the verifier does its work, then it will send the data to Starknet core contract, which now writes the state diff into Ethereum mainnet and also finalizes the transaction. If I go back to this other site here and I go to the Starknet stack, here you'll be able to learn more about the stack, how it flows, the benefits of the Starknet stack itself. So if I may look at the first one is protection from congestion on the public Starknet, can provide its users with better throughput and UX. That's another thing we have is subchains are potentially free to implement. So if you read through down the Starknet stack, it composes all those things that we have talked about. It explains more about Madara. Just a moment. Yeah, so it explains more about Madara, and also we have the Lambda class. Another notable effort is building the stack that allows Starknet upchains. Yeah, that allows launching of Starknet upchains. So that's done by Lambda class. And if now we go down a bit deeper, we'll be able to find a few more things. I didn't talk about nodes, but nodes also stay in the Starknet, like in the flow of things. We have a node here, some examples of nodes like Juno. We also have execution engines such as BlockFire. I didn't like fully speak about all these things. They are sort of more complex, and I believe having to explain them here it may take a little bit of time. We have sequencers, which I've talked a bit about, and also provers. For the sequencer, the first one was Starknet. We also have Madara and the Lambda class sequencer. Also, we have a prover that is Stone Prover, Sandstorm, and Platinum. Then for the VM, we have different VMs. The first one, there was Cairo VM on Python, written by or built by Starknet, and we have Cairo VM in Rust, written by Lambda class. This is the most recent and which we sort of have access to and we use mostly. Then we have the one on Zig, still in development, on Go, still in development, and also another one on Go in development, both built by different people that is from the community, Lambda class, and also Nethermind. Nethermind has contributed much into the Starknet ecosystem. For example, here we have Voyager. This is built by Nethermind. We have this other one here, the Cairo VM Go, in development, of course, being built also right now. They have like the Juno node built by Nethermind. So you realize Nethermind is playing a big role in the Starknet ecosystem. Besides that, we have other links here to different uh, application, to different stacks. For example, block explorers, we have the most common we have is StackScan and Voyager, but we also have this other one here called ViewBlock. So this ViewBlock also works similar to Voyager and StackScan. Then we have indexers. So indexers can help you sort of quickly index your contract when it comes to making your contract or your D app quick, better UX, and all those things. So that's the full work of indexers to help you like index different events. And the API services, we have Alchemy, Nifura, Plus API. So if I may talk a bit about these API services, Voyager also has these API services. And if I go to the Voyager API, so what do these API services help? The API services help in they help you sort of quickly get some information that you want on about Starknet or about something on Starknet. So that can be transaction, it can be about blocks, or it can be even about your contract itself, or about the contracts that have been written there. For example, the tokens, the NFTs, etc. So for the API on Starknet, you'll sort of have to on Voyager, sorry, you'll have to fill this form to get like the thing that you want. You can ask for the REST API. So what does the REST API help you with? This will help you with things like tokens. You want access to a list of tokens. Where can you get them at once? So Voyager has that. And also, besides that, if I go to my dashboard, let me just sort of sign in. You can use this. I think I was using this a few times, doing lots and lots of calls. Just create your API, and this will help you to access the RPC, the Juno RPC, I believe. Yeah, let's see. So Juno RPC will help you sort of connect to your contract during or from your D app, or even help you in doing the indexing things. So you can get these paid endpoints. Okay, we have the like the free RPC. So this free RPC can help you connect your contract to your D app. So besides the Juno RPC, okay, yeah, this is Juno. Yeah, besides the Juno RPC, we also have RPC endpoints from Alchemy and Infura. This will help you achieve the same thing, doing calls to your contract, doing calls to Starknet, and all those things. Uh, so for Invura, the reason as to why I'm introducing this is because we are going to use them in just a moment while we do our development. So that is, if I go to Infura, once you have logged in successfully, I think I should go log in. So I verify if I'm human. So I'm just showing you how to access these RPC endpoints. They are very critical in the development process. So I'll just look at this one, deploy here. Okay, I have my API key somewhere here. But if you don't have, you will need to create one of these API key. You can just click here, create new, but I have used all of the three options that I have to create some. I'm looking for a place where I can edit this. I think I should be able to edit the linked chains. Yeah, if you click manage your API key, you can be able to update underlying chain somewhere you want it to be used. But whenever you create this, okay, all endpoints, just enable, make sure you have enabled Starknet endpoint, that's mainnet and a Sepolia. Otherwise, you won't be able to fully like access, use this endpoint in your contract development. Once that one is done, always copy your value, then move with it. So I'll show you once we do like the development. Yeah, here is where you find the entire link. You can be able to copy this. So for example, for Starknet, just copy this and move with it. So these are all RPC endpoints that will help you. Going down a little bit, we have bridges. And the bridges, yesterday I talked about Starknet to help you bridge from Ethereum mainnet to Starknet. We also have layer swap. So, okay, I think I should have opened this on a new page. And the orbiter. So for layer swap, the same as Starknet, just connect your wallets, select the assets, then I think I need to select from Ethereum to the other one, or it will work the other way around. Yeah, it will work the other way around. That is from Starknet to Ethereum or from Ethereum to Starknet. There's no harm. That's how. Also, we also have like a orbiter here. Same. It will help you achieve bridging from Ethereum mainnet to Starknet or vice versa. Next, we have fiat on ramps, and this will help you directly on ramp funds to your Starknet wallets using fiat, either card or. Okay, let me just close these tabs. We have Banksa, ramp, and there's another one, though still in development, I believe. That's called One Ramp. So One Ramp is most familiar or commonly used here in East Africa. They may say that is Uganda and Kenya. I'm not sure whether they have fully. So I'm trying to get the exact link. That's oneramp.io. So that is if you want to on-ramp funds to your Starknet wallet. For those who had questions, how can you be able to get funds to my wallet? What's the title of the session? It's the deep dive into Starknet. That's the title of the session. Oh, nice. Thanks, Christopher, for pointing that out. Yeah. So OneRamp will also help you achieve like on-ramping funds. So just select what you want to on-ramp. Let's launch up and actually see how it flows. So just select how much you want to pay in the Uganda shillings or the Kenya shillings, then how much you're about. So if I may say here 2,000, I expect to receive 14 USDC, then I need to select my payment method. And here I'm going to select Safaricom, then buy USDC. This will quickly and automatically get me some funds to my Starknet wallet. Going back to where we were about wallets. So this like the Starknet stack and all those things, just illustrating a few more things that will require along the way. So yesterday we talked about Agent X and Bravos, and I illustrated how to use those two in order to create an account, deploy your account to on-chain, and also interact with your account, doing some swap, maybe doing some bridging, all those things. We also have cartridge. So if I may open cartridge, it's another wallet. Okay. Kind of game. Okay, this is a game, I believe. It's not really a wallet. I believe, yeah, this should be a game unless it has a wallet in it. MetaMask Snap, this they're saying it's coming soon, but I believe sometime back people were using these snaps in order to achieve like doing transactions on Starknet. think it's under update or something like that. Then we have these some domain specific applications. You can call it, so this domain specific application, sort of an upchain in the gaming environment on Starknet. It's called Dojo. And I said, if time allows, we'll introduce Dojo during this session. I believe it might be the last session. Yeah, that's where Dojo is. So this will help you sort of build games on Starknet. And if you do recall yesterday when we were going through the Starknet apps, that is apps built on Starknet, apps built on Starknet, we did talk about the different D apps therein under the DApp land section. And here we've seen like on-ramps, that's where one ramp comes in, Banksa, and also ramp.network. We have games, and the games you'll realize like most of these games have been built on Dojo. Why Dojo? Dojo allows to bundle up some transactions, then send them into Starknet as a single transaction, because there is lots and lots of signing moves made on a game. So to achieve like sending those transactions in an efficient way and achieve like the best UX, then Dojo comes into play. So to allow you achieve that. And finally we have like oracles, and we have here Pragma and Redstone. So what's Pragma? Imagine you want to read a price of a given token on Starknet in your contract. Usually there's no direct way of achieving that. That's where Pragma comes into play. It will allow you or help you read those prices in your contract itself. So let's say you wanted to do a contract specific calculation on your contract. Because you don't have access to the other network, for those who are new to blockchain development, you cannot access the normal network from your contract by default. So you have to find ways of achieving that. So Pragma, in this case, will help you. Like the most thing maybe you might require to read from the outer network or from the rest of the network. That is the rest of the network. In this case, I mean, like apps built on Web2, maybe an API service. It's not a direct thing. So, but part of the things that you will need or you might require to achieve or access is the price of a given token. So Pragma and Redstone will help you achieve that. So you can call the Pragma contract directly in your contract and read Starknet value, read Ethereum value, and do the calculation that you want. The USDC value, let's say you wanted to see this guy paid 10 stack, how much is that in USDC, so that you can sort of build your dashboard at the end of the day. That's where Pragma comes into play. So use this to achieve it. I'd actually used it to build one of my D apps still in development. That's called Stackscam. Okay, Cycle Stack. So this one was on DevNet, so not DevNet, but rather Sepolia. I think I'll have to switch my network to Starknet Sepolia, and I can see Bravos have updated their wallet. It's awesome. So let me connect my Bravos wallet. Yeah, there we go. So I'd use the Pragma to read different prices of a given token. And here I think things have broken out, but you could just even see the price of Ethereum, USDT, DAI, etc. directly on your contract, directly to your D app using the Pragma Oracle. Going down, so this part of the things that have been built by the community, the Starknet community, and are running the Starknet ecosystem entirely. So just a number of things. that we have gone through. So if you have time to go through them, learn what each does and how you can utilize it to do or develop a the app or an application, a platform to help those on Starknet, users on Starknet achieve different functionality, achieve different goals. So come up with nice D apps based on these different tools that we have gone through here. Don't know whether there are any other questions. And also with time, I'll introduce other the apps along the way. For example, Stack Deployer. This is a deployment platform on Starknet. It helps you sort of deploy contracts to DevNet, Sepolia, and Mainnet, and also test them out. The reason as to why I built this, if I may say, is to help you, like not to move your private keys and public keys to your development environment. If you know about people losing funds, the development phase is where you leak your private key, and hence everything just goes blank in your wallets. So, but that's for later on, as when we reach the smart contract development portion of things. I don't know whether there are any other questions. Okay, let's just proceed to the next thing. So what are the applications of or use cases of Starknet itself? So you can use Starknet to build different applications. For example, DeFi applications, gaming, and general applications. We have looked at the Starknet Dapland, and if you feel like you want to build a given application, so the fastest way to achieve that one is to go and get some inspiration from existing D app on this Dapland. So if you want to build a game, for example, just come here, click on games, then identify a given game, maybe any of these games. For example, let's take the first one here. We have Brick, and if you open Brick, try to see whether they have open sourced their source code. So if there's this GitHub logo here, then just click on that one. And then after that, try to see their contract. So they have like the brick protocol here. If this where the contract lies, try to see whether you can get something from it. How have they executed their game logic? So same with the rest of the DeFi applications here. For example, we have DeFi, which are the most, of course. We have 10K swap, and 10K swap is a DEX on a DEX on Starknet. Just go through their source code, try to see how they have achieved the different things they have done on their website. So this is their website. They have contracts that help them achieve some things. So here I've connected the wrong network. I'm on DevNet. Just make sure you're on the right network, for example. And after that, try to see how this works entirely. So here you can be able to see, for example, how have they achieved the pooling mechanism in their system? Have they achieved the swapping mechanism? Of course, there are other DEXs, including Avenue Finance, and Avenue is like an aggregator of all these other DEXs. You might need to visit it if a given DEX is not giving you what you want. Maybe you were on Nostro or 10K swap and you realized you're not achieving like something, or there's something you're looking for specific. Then Avenue Finance will help you be there. So you realize like it's even displaying how the different prices have been, different tokens have been faring on Starknet. So try to check all these the apps out from the Dapland. They will help you in your development phase and in your development process. And also for those doing NFTs, I think we have Pyramid. I mentioned it yesterday. Pyramid, which is sort of like another large NFT platform. We also have Starknet ID. Get your Starknet ID from this specific app.starknet.id. For mine, I've already gotten myself one. Not quite, it's quite affordable. So just get yourself a .stack domain and identify yourself as a Starknet developer, Starknet uh, community member, user, etc. Yeah, so let's proceed. Those are like the use cases, general application. Thereafter, we have the a big thing on Starknet, that is Cairo. And for those who do not know what Cairo is a language built specifically for Starknet, but currently it's expanding out of Starknet to other fields. You can use Cairo to build provable programs. And also, so what is Cairo? Cairo is a programming language designed for writing provable programs. I'll explain further what Cairo itself is. So it's a Turing complete language that at the end of the day combines down to Casim, which is near, they say near to the device you are using. For example, so it's like a low level language that can help you achieve great things when doing your development. I think I'll explain this one further. What are the key features of Cairo? High performance, and it's quite scalable. Very viable execution through zero knowledge proofs. So Cairo is the primary language of writing contracts or writing programs on Starknet. Before we had Cairo in Python, okay, like something like Python like language. That's I think Cairo 0. It looks similar to Python, though it was not Python. It was still called uh, Cairo. And later on, the current implementation of Cairo is in Rust-like. The reason as to why they choose Rust is because of the memory efficiency and other great factors of Rust itself. So that's why they sort of migrated generally from the Pythonic version of Cairo. So before everything was written in Cairo, that includes, let me go back to a tool that we'll be using shortly. We have a tool called Starknet DevNet. So this is a local development node. I'm trying to get link. So Starknet DevNet is a local development node for us devs. Currently, okay, before it was written in Python, but with the time they migrated up to the Rust version. So you realize whatever you are going to install right now is in Rust, not like Python. And also before Cairo 0 was in sort of in Python, but the current implementation of Cairo is in Rust. So just a moment. So to learn more about Cairo, even I take some time to illustrate what it is. So what is Cairo in itself? So in order to unlock secure and decentralized scaling for Ethereum, validity rollups make verification of badges of transaction vastly most efficient than their naive execution. So I'm not going to go through the Cairo VM thing, but rather going to Cairo itself. So Cairo 0 was released in 2020. So the Cairo 0 was talking about was looking like Python, but not Python itself. Introduced in the world's first Turing complete language for creating stack provable programs. So that's the work of Cairo, building provable programs. So thereafter, the migration to Cairo, now Cairo 0, but better. Cairo, the current version under 2.11, overcomes the limitation of Cairo 0, promising safer and a more efficient contract writing. Say the difference between the two Cairo versions is that Cairo 0 was sort of Python and quite not efficient for developers, if you may say, sort of difficult. But Cairo, the current version of Cairo, is more easier to write. And also, it's like Rust, it's like developer friendly fully, if you may say, using that term. Cairo compiles down to Sierra. Okay, when you compile Cairo, you sort of have to produce Sierra, and this Sierra will be compiled down to Casim. So what Casim is a Cairo assembly. It's a machine code that the Cairo VM runs. So we have been talking about Cairo VMs, and whenever you write your contract, they are not like written or saved down as just Cairo language or Sierra language itself. They have to be compiled down, or the Sierra has to be compiled down to Casim that will be executed on the Cairo VM. So let's say you wrote a contract maybe to track different people doing a business. So they sent, you have to check on maybe somebody is the owner of that contract to execute a given function, is the owner of that asset in order to execute a given uh, action on it. So the contract you write will be finally compiled down to Casim. So with the time, okay, I think not far, but just today, I will illustrate what Casim is, or where do we get some Casim. So Casim or Cairo assembly is the one running on Cairo VMs. So Cairo VM in full is like Cairo virtual machines, right? So if you have time, just go through the Starknet blog to learn like deeper things about the entire execution of transactions on Starknet. After that, we have the Cairo execution environment. So this is where the Cairo programs run. And also, how does this work? How does the execution flow? So Cairo VM, this is like the Cairo VM itself. So you write a Cairo program, and after that, it's compiled using the Cairo compiler. And after that, you have compiled it like to Casim now, that is Sierra and Casim. Then that one will you deploy it on Starknet. After that, the deployment stuff has happened. You execute the program on Starknet. You sort of generate the zero knowledge proofs and then verify those proofs on Ethereum. So your contract will go through all this, and your contract will lie in the Cairo VM itself. So that's where like the transaction to that contract is done. Then finally it will be written onto layer one using the flow that we talked about earlier on. That is from the sequencers to provers to verifiers to the Starknet core contract. Then thereafter, the components of Cairo language, if now we have migrated or moved unto now understanding what Cairo is and how to write some Cairo code through. So what are the components of the Cairo language? So as we have said, Cairo is a programming language designed for writing provable programs. So what do we have? So here is a sample code or a sample snippet of a Cairo code. And here we have, okay, I think I'll just go back a bit. I think this function is sort of written in the other Cairo version. For that, I'll just illustrate using some code that I have here on my local machine. And here I'm going to initialize a new project. And I will explain how all this work in a moment. Okay, need to use new CD project, then code inside us. Okay, not like that. So let's look at a sample source code of Cairo. So you realize we have a function. For example, here we have the main function. And if you are common or familiar with Rust, you realize it's similar. It's similar to Rust. When writing a function, for example, you sort of do fn, then the function name, curly braces for your parameters. And then if you have some return value, you use the return arrow here, then what you are going to return from this given function. So for example, in this case, we are going to return a file 252, which is being returned by the fib function. And also, we have some tests here. So with the time, I'll talk more about these tests, how they fully work. So for our fib function here, you realize it has some parameters. And for these parameters, we can sort of pass in the type of the parameters that we want to pass in and whether they are mutable or not. So if you are familiar with Rust, this is just a simple illustration of how Cairo looks like. We have the let to define our variables, and also we have const, but not usually used in functions. The most common one is a let. If you don't want your variable to be mutable, you can just get rid of the mute value. But we'll explain all this as we go through. This is just an illustration of a simple code snippet of Cairo, how it looks like. So for those who are asking, how does Cairo look like? Okay, this is what we have here. So just like Rust. We also have other things like structs, etc. So the other thing that we are going to handle today is setting up our environment. That's the development environment. So before I start that one, if there are any other questions, let me check. And if you have another question, kindly drop them in the chat. So yeah, I believe if there are no questions, let's just have like a short break of 2 minutes and we'll get back to this setting up the environment.
Hi, hello everyone. Just before you continue, Dalmas, um, I would suggest that probably if we have our laptops in front of us, we can install alongside the instructor so that it's easy even to pose a question when you feel challenged installing one of these requirements. So kindly, if you are in front of your laptop, I think here the instruction will be a little bit slow so that we can work together as we install together. Those are the prerequisites so that it's easy to ask a question where you're unable to successfully install and you are answered right away. Thank you.
Okay. I think we'll get back and continue. So I believe you do have your laptops, your computers around, so we can flow together in this setting up the environment. It might take some time to do the setup, and also uh, take note of everything that we do, because if you miss some step, you might miss something great at the end of the day. So remember to follow through each part and each portion. It's critical to have an environment that is working rather than having just an environment that is giving you some headaches. So we have some prerequisites here. The first one we need to do or install is called Rust. And don't fear much, we are not going like to write some Rust code. The reason as to why we need Rust installed is because the environment we are setting up relies on Rust itself. So no Rust code, but just the tooling or the tools given by Rust. For example, we have Cargo, and also we have another tool like the DevNet itself will sort of require Rust in the background to run. So DevNet itself, yeah, DevNet relies on Rust. Foundry relies on Cairo Scab. For Scab, this package manager. For Cairo, if you are familiar with the package managers, we have npm or yarn or npm and others. For Node, we have Cargo for Rust, and we have tool like pip for Python, I believe. Yeah. So that's like another package manager. So that's Cab. And finally, we have VS Code. VS Code is where we be doing like writing our code and all those things. That's our playground. And the one that I didn't add here is called the browser. Of course, the browser of your choice. It can be Chrome, it can be Brave, or Mozilla Firefox. Those are, I believe, the ones that we have our extensions can run on. That's Agentex and Bravos. Then, without further ado, let's go and see the first thing that we need up and running. So this is how we'll be installing them down. So we'll start with Rust and Cargo, then Starknet DevNet. Then we set up Foundry, Scab, and then we set up our VS Code for the same. So how do you install Rust? Just go to this URL. So that's under Rust. So let me open my browser here. We can flow together that way. I believe I need to close most of these tabs. Close those ones and try to get the Rust book. Believe I'm audible. If I'm not, kindly let me know. So just search Rust book. Go to this link here and click on installation. That's the initial link. So how do you do the installation? Um, I did not mention this before, but for you to do proper development on Starknet, you might be needing to be on either macOS or on a Linux-based machine, Ubuntu, and another related machine, or OS rather. So if you are on Windows, kindly install, how is it called? WSL. That is Windows system for Linux, I think. Yeah. So install WSL so that you can easily run these commands. So, uh, so you need to install Rust app. Then Rust is installed. Now, great. For Windows, you can do the same stuff. So let me copy this and run on my terminal here. So always open your terminal. Just find your terminal here. Okay, if it's pinned. Otherwise, just search for it if you're on Linux. If you're on Windows, search CMD. Then, if that's only if you have installed WSL. But there's another setup for Rust on Windows. But we are not going to do our development on Windows itself. So I'd prefer just find some time, install WSL, then come back to this. And what's WSL? WSL, just search for, okay, WSL Windows, like that. Then it will show you how to install Linux on Windows use with the WSL. Just click on that, then do the install app. Use PowerShell, so WSL -- install. It will help you set up WSL. Once it is installed, just search for WSL from your applications, or once you have opened your terminal, that is CMD, type in WSL and it will sort of open up WSL or the Linux OS, the small Linux OS for you on Windows. Then we do proceed to the next installation. So installing Rust app on Linux. So Rust app will help us achieve all these things. So copy the command from there, and so if you do copy the way copied, you realize it will come with another $sign here. So make sure you delete that extra $sign. It's unnecessary. Otherwise, just copy the exact command like that. So it's going to download the installer, and the installer in this case is Rust app. Proceed with standalone. So I'll just proceed with the first option. Proceed with standard installation. Then it's going to do the installation. So it's going to install the required tools, that is Rust C, Cargo, Rust Analyzer, and all those things. So we'll give it some time for it to do the installation. So usually if you are not in a good network, it will literally take its time to do the same. So for my case, it's sort of doing the same here, taking its own time, but I'll give it some time. So we have successfully done the installation. Then cargo bin directory. To get started, you may need to restart the current shell. This will reload your path environment variable to include cargo's bin directory. So you are given like the things that you might need to do to achieve the complete installation. But the fastest one is to restart your directory, something like that. Not your directory, but rather your terminal. Otherwise, for my case, Okay, let me just start my terminal. So Control T, and I have my terminal. So if I try to do Rust, so if you run this Rust app dash dash version, it will just sort of say this is the version for Rust app toolchain manager. So that's the work of Rust app. Rust app will help, sort of help you do the updates of cargo and other tools, Rust formatter, etc. But correct command is Rust C dash dash version, and Rust C is the Rust compiler. So it will just tell you the version of Rust compiler that you have installed. This will show you that you have correctly or successfully installed Rust. Anybody who was trying and got stuck along the way? Confirm. Give me a moment. We'll be back shortly. Let me check on my power cable here. Okay, so I'm back. Once Rust is installed and we have confirmed it's installed using the Rust C dash dash version, we'll go to the next tool that we need to install. So here we have like verify installation, verify whether you have installed Rust. And once you install Rust, it comes together with Cargo as the package manager. So you can check Rust C dash dash version and the Cargo version. So these two can help you achieve that. So Cargo, you'll realize it's 1.79, and Rust C version, you realize it's the same 179. Once that one is achieved, the next thing we're going to install is called Starknet DevNet. And what is this? So as I said, Starknet DevNet is the local development node. Those familiar with the travel and other like things for you to do, like have a complete setup in your local machine for fast development, fast testing. This is the tool that's Starknet DevNet. And to install it, the current command is quite easy. So just do cargo install Starknet DevNet like that. So this will install Starknet DevNet globally to your system. So we give it some time. Another thing to take note of here is that this DevNet version, we might need to be updating or installing a different DevNet version as time goes by if something is not working or things are just going sideways. So as to use like the working versions of DevNet. But for now, just do cargo install DevNet. And for further reading and that, let me open the website here. So just search for Starknet DevNet, and it will bring you the searches. Don't take the first one, but rather find the one that is 0x space short. So this one will be sort of check out DevNet in Rust, and it will take you to GitHub. So if you go to Starknet DevNet GitHub, so What DevNet allows you or helps you to achieve, besides the normal testing, you can deploy your contract. You can also try fork mainnet and testnet. For example, this forking is helpful when you want to test out, for example, things like sending out tokens. Is sending out tokens working correctly for your contract? Yes or no? So the fastest way to achieve that one is by forking testnet and then using the different already deployed tokens on testnet. That is on Sepolia. That includes USDC, USDT, Ether, and Stack, etc., and the rest of the other tokens. Also, it will help you to sort of do account impersonation. Just go read more about these values like account impersonation, what this is, etc. So this is critical in development. It will help you develop a contract that is totally standard. So these are the exact docs, and I believe if you go to 0x spaceshard.github.io, then click get started, you'll be directed here. They are migrating to Rust. So this, okay, they're only displaying the one that is for Rust, Python, but we have the Rust one here. How do we take it? So here they only have Starknet DevNet. This is the Pythonic DevNet. But if you want to achieve the Rust one quickly and fast, I believe you can just add an arrest there. Let me increase my, okay, yeah, I think that one is visible. So here you will get to learn more about DevNet, how it works, how to dump, load different, how to do the forking, how to do account impersonation, etc. So here everything is sort of explained in a step-to-step guide for you to get to learn more about DevNet itself. So for my case, it's still installing DevNet core. So we give it some almost complete 781 to 784. We have the JSON RPC API. So here you can be able to send those functions that we are used to, for example, something to do, get underscore Starknet something. So such like functions, you can be able to call them correctly once you have done the installation during testing phase. So I will illustrate how to do the testing with DevNet. Yep, so Starknet DevNet has been installed, and if I may go back to our guide here, you'll be able to see like, okay, this Foundry, we have, how do you confirm that you have Starknet DevNet? Just run Starknet DevNet. You might also need to restart your terminal, so I'll close this one and open another one. Oh, Control Alt T. So just run Starknet DevNet -- version. And this one will tell you have Starknet DevNet 0.1.2 installed. So that's a confirmation that you have installed Starknet DevNet. After installing Starknet DevNet, somebody might be asking, how do you have not installed Cairo, or how do we get started working on Cairo? So we are going to take the next command, that is installing scab. So scab will come bundled with the Cairo under the hood. As much it's like as much it's just a package manager. It also comes bundled with Cairo under the hood. So let's install Cairo also. Scab. Sorry. So just search for scab in Starknet installation on your browser. Take the first link that's under docs.sourcemansion.com, swmansion.com, and here you can be able to see the installation script. Just copy the installation script and proceed to do the installation. So I've copied it like that, then just paste it on my terminal, then install scab. So you don't have to sort of install Cairo separately somewhere or do anything to do with that. This installation kind of the installation of SCAB comes bundled with the Cairo. So if I do SCAB dash dash version, you realize it's saying you have a SCAB version 2.65 and also Cairo version 2.64, but also Sierra version 1.5. So that's how that's the simple installation of Cairo itself. So I think I should have started with this, but I missed this one. So after you have installed Scab, that means you have Cairo running. Then from here you can be able to do those common commands or the command that you used earlier. That is Scab new, so project name. So I'm not going to run this command here. As I said, always do your projects under the same folder. So I'm going to go there and I created this. I'm going to delete these two. And for the project, yeah, I'm also going to delete this because it was just a test project. And open my terminal in this folder. This is the folder that I asked you to create. That's called bchain somewhere to do all your work, the sessions, and also the project. So here I'm going to run scab new project name. So here it will be bchain, maybe bchain one like that. So once you have created a new project using scab, you are going to open this in your VS Code. So just do, you can open manually from here, just right click and open in the Visual Studio Code. But since we are in the terminal, just do code dot, if you have VS Code installed. For my case, I have VS Code inside us, so I'm going to do code dash inside us dot, and it's going to open VS Code in this specific, okay, it has opened it in the entire project. So cd bchain 1, then I'm going to open VS Code here. So once VS Code is opened, you can be able to see now your first Cairo code. And for illustration, okay, let me increase the font like that. So you'll be able to see an SRC folder, .ignore, and a scab.toml file. Those familiar with this package management, you realize for Node.js we have package.json, for Rust we have cargo.toml, for Cairo and scab we have scab.toml as our now that file that manages the packages for our project. Here we'll set the project name, and this will define how you will be linking the different files, the different modules. We'll talk about modules deeper into this session, or maybe in the next session. And also in this SRC folder, you'll find the lib.cairo file. Under the lib.cairo file is where you will be writing your code. This is like the main entry point of your project or of your package. So how do you run this simple source code? Here we have like the fib source code, and I'm going to comment out fib for now and have a print statement. And here I'm going to write hello Starknet like this. So to run your Cairo code, once you have done something like this, usually you do scab Cairo run. So that's the running command. Here it's complaining fn main. Actually, I commented out this, but I'm not returning anything, so safely delete this and run it. There we go. So that's how you run your Cairo code. And specifically, I've just said Cairo code, not like smart contract. So that's the simple print line statement. Familiar from Python, familiar from Rust. So that's the installation of Scab and Cairo and Sierra. What is VS Code Insider, please? So that's a good one. So VS Code Insider is just VS Code, but just a different version of VS Code. This one allows you to get the earlier, okay, access experimental features as they come up before they are released for the main VS Code. So let me go here. And also it has like its own other purposes, I believe. So if I search here VS Code Insiders, so just go to download this one. So it's like getting the experimental features or the latest release like on a daily basis, not like something fancy, but rather just with the normal VS Code, you'll have everything set up and everything will work the way everything's working on my side. So that's the installation of Scab. For any questions, kindly drop them. So Scab installs Cairo. You don't have to install anything else to have code running. After that, we are going to install another tool. So let's look at the tool that we are about to install. That tool, that is Foundry. For those who are coming from Ethereum development or Ethereum ecosystem development, they have Foundry there. So Foundry will help us achieve, or it comes with tools that will help us achieve some functions on Starknet. That includes deploying and interacting with our contract, and also testing our contract. So how do you install Foundry? Starknet Foundry specific. So just go to your browser, search for Starknet Foundry, and you can add even installation ahead, and take the first link that you get. Believe it will redirect you to the Foundry book, and here, it will take you to the GitHub account. If you don't want the GitHub account, just go back and find a link that goes to foundry-rs.github.io. Take that one, and it will bring you to this nice page. So before you have this, you'll sort of need to have like a Scab installed and Universal Sierra compiler. So yeah, so actually they are saying Universal Sierra compiler will be automatically installed if you use SN Foundry app or SDF. So how do you install the Foundry? Just take this link here, install via SN Foundry app. Just copy this command and paste it to your terminal. That one will do some installation of this tool called SN Foundry app. SN Foundry app, then just use that one, run this one to install Starknet Foundry. So we have been told they are successfully installed. So if I do SN Forge version, I have SN Forge version 0.26, and also if I do SN Cast version, I have a similar version. You might be wondering, we installed the Foundry, but we are just having other tools to test for installation, SN Forge and SN Cast. Yeah, to explain further, when you do install like the Starknet Foundry, a tool, it just gives you two tools in it. The first tool is called SNForge, and SNForge will help us initialize new projects or rather new contracts. And SNCast, SNForge will help us initialize new projects, new contracts, and also test them. And SNCast will help us declare, deploy, and interact with our contract. So they have like two distinct roles: SNForge for initializing new projects and testing, SNCast for testing the contract that we have built. So how do we use like SNForge, SNCast? Just a quick illustration and a short one. So I'm going to just go back a bit and use SNForge to initialize a new project. And in fact, to learn how these tools are used from the Starknet Foundry book, here you will have like all those illustrated out or written out for you. But for this case, if you have it on your local machine, then just use the help command to see the subcommands that they are in. So for SN4, it has like test, init, clean cache, and the help itself. So I'm going to run the init command first. So SN4 init. Can I add the font? Yeah, I can increase this one a bit. I think it's visible, clear. Yeah, so here I'm going to write SNForge init new contract. So it's going to initialize a new contract for us, like doing the bootstrapping of a Starknet contract. So once that one is done, I'm going to run a CD into the new contract that we have created, and I'm also going to open it in VS Code. So in VS Code, you realize it has the same structure like the other project, this other one here. Okay, I don't think if this one is up and running, so I'll close this and leave with this. Yeah, you'll realize it have like the same structure, but it has added the tests folder, which I will explain later on as we go on after covering Cairo itself. And also we have the lib.cairo here, same, but there's something unique about this lib.cairo. It has like these attributes here. So these attributes help us define, for example, this attribute here will mark like the entry point of a contract. This attribute will mark the entry point of a Starknet trait. So for Starknet, for the contract purposes, they're called interfaces, but yeah. So that's how you use SN4G to initialize a new contract. We'll be using this all the time when we want to create a new contract because it readily bootstraps for us a contract. It's easier to just write this up. That's once you are you have gained some skills in writing some contracts. But it's good to start with this because it will save you a lot of time. For example, when writing your tests, this might be looking simple, but when it comes to now write it up and down, it might be difficult. So just use SN4G. And also we say the SN4G will help us test. So if we may open the terminal or on VS Code, and I write SN4G test, it's going to test this contract just here and here. So all tests will pass because we have changed nothing. That's the default setting. Every test should pass. Once we are done with the SNForge, then the other tool is a SNCast. I won't talk much about the SNCast now because there's much to it. So let's just hold on for now. After that, after the successful installation of Starknet Foundry, now we just go and proceed to set up VS Code. So already you have VS Code set up, but now you need to set it up to write Cairo code. So there are two extensions that we're going to install. The first one is called Cairo 1.0. Of course, there was Cairo 0, as I said, the other one, the Pythonic like Cairo, and also Cairo syntax. So just head over to VS Code and click the extensions tab and search for Cairo like that. So it will bring up a number of extensions. So don't take the first Cairo here, just leave it alone. Take the Cairo 1.0 extension and the Cairo syntax. Without these two extensions, you realize it will be a difficult task for one to write Cairo code. For example, without the installation of those two, that's what I get. Just a plain Cairo, plain text. You can't tell. And if you only install maybe or activate the Cairo syntax one, it will sort of bring back the syntax, but you won't get the autocomplete stuff. So that's why you need the Cairo 1.0 extension also. So I have to activate my Cairo 1.0 extension. And after successful installation and activation, so I might need to restart my VS Code completely. So I'll just do reload. So this one is going to, okay, not like that. I need to reload the window. So it's going to reload the VS Code and sort of run everything, run scap behind the scenes and give me something like this. So if I come here, I can do now self dot. Now it gives me the auto completion of Cairo. Remember, without the two extensions, it's going to be hard for you to be able to catch problems. For example, you might be writing balance, but I do something like this. So this one will help you quickly catch that and rectify it as it's required. So we'll talk about these return statements that are returned without the return statement. So that is for the basic setup. If I may recap what we have done here, so I'll get back to my last slides here. So the first thing that we did set up was Rust and Cargo. After setting up Rust and Cargo, we immediately set up Starknet DevNet. And after doing Starknet DevNet, we did install Starknet Foundry, of course, SCAB. We did install SCAB, and this SCAB helped us install Cairo and Sierra. And also, finally, we installed Starknet Foundry. For our VS Code portion of things, we did install two extensions. That's Cairo 1.0 and Cairo Syntax. I don't know whether there are any other questions for this specific portion of setting up the environment.
Well, somebody was asking, what is VS Code Insider?
Yeah, so VS Code Insider, as I said earlier, is VS Code, except it allows you to like get the latest releases or the different features tested on VS Code itself. So before they're like moved to the normal code or the normal VS Code, they're tested on VS Code Insider. So you'll be like one of those guys who are testing them out or trying to use them. So it's like an earlier version or a test environment for VS Code itself. So seems like there are no further questions. So let's do some introduction to these tools that we have installed. The first one is Starknet DevNet. So Starknet DevNet is a local development and a testing environment for Starknet contracts. What are the benefits of having Starknet DevNet locally? Number one, it's fast. That's the first benefit. So you can deploy your contract there, and when you are interacting with your contract from your D app, it reads very fast as compared to reading now from the normal Sepolia or mainnet. That includes even writing to the contract. Another thing is that it helps you to quickly DevNet, it quickly allows you to iterate over your contract. Say, let's say you did write some code and then you realize, okay, my contract is wrong here. It's sort of, there's a vulnerability at some point or it does not work correctly. So you can quickly now redeploy another contract and continue the process of testing out your contract. So that's the importance of DevNet, like a local development and testing environment for smart contracts on Starknet. So how do you get this up and running? So to run this, you use the command we did install using Cargo, that's Cargo install Starknet DevNet, and to run it, you just run Starknet DevNet. So I'm going to add another terminal here and I'm going to increase Shift Control plus. So here I'm going to just write Starknet DevNet. So like travel, you get like the basic accounts that you can get somewhere. And that's like the accounts you can use now to interact with your contract uh, locally. They are all like given a balance of about 1,000 way, okay, 1,000 ETH, etc. Some large value for you to test out everything that you want to test. And that's how you like start Starknet DevNet. How do you? The next question can be, how do I deploy my contract to Starknet DevNet? So I'm going to go back. Okay, we are here. So we had created a contract using SNForge. If you do recall that, we ran that SNForge init new contract, and we got this contract called Hello Starknet contract. And this contract has a few functions. Uh, I'll just go through it a bit. It has a few components. The first component is an interface here, and another component is the module, or is a module, the contract module itself. So the interfaces will define the functions that we might be wanting to implement in our contract. And this makes our work cleaner. Otherwise, there is another way of avoiding writing this interface and just directly writing these functions here. But that one thing will come in later. So in our contract here, okay, starting from this interface or this trait, it is decorated. I'm just using with the Python decorators. So it's decorated with this attribute called Starknet interface, and this defines this trait as a Starknet interface, so that Starknet, when Cairo is being like when this contract is being compiled, this will be defined into the Sierra and into the Casim. Otherwise, if you don't have this, then it's going to be noticed that's a scene interface. And also, the interface allows you to implement it in the contract module. So the moment you do like hash Starknet contract, that's where that module, this name here, mod hello Starknet, becomes your contract name. And then this one, Starknet hash, okay, Starknet contract defines like your contract itself. And then we have the storage struct here. This does Starknet DevNet work like hard hat nodes? Yeah, it works like that. So it's like another development environment, but for this case for Starknet. You're right. So we have a storage struct here that tracks the different things. For those cases coming from Solidity, you know how to achieve this. Next, we have the implementation of the different functions that we defined in our interface here. We have the increase balance, and here we are going to increase the balance by 1 or by a given value that we pass in through this method. And also the get balance will only return the balance that has been saved into our contract. So since we have started our DevNet server here using Starknet DevNet, we are going to just quickly declare our contract. And here I'm going to do, okay, before we do the declaration, we need to build our contract. So build your contract using scap build command. So this will build your contract, and it will, if you go to your target directory under dev, you realize we have like something here called contract class. Contract class is the Sierra program. I don't have Casim currently, but you can enable that one under here. So where we say Sierra true, that's target Starknet contract. And also you can say something like Casim true. And if now you do scap build, now it will provide both the Sierra and also the Casim. That's the Casim, the Cairo assembly code in JSON, of course, also. Once you have built your contract like this, you are going to declare your contract to Starknet DevNet. But I believe that's a lot longer process, and time is not on our side. So I'll only illustrate like all go through our slides and try to see what happens. So once you have built your contract like that, you need to declare your contract using a sendcast declare command. And the sendcast declare command will declare your contract and give you back a class hash. Then after it has given you a class hash, you are going to deploy that class hash. And thereafter, you are going to now interact with your contract. For example, invoke some functions, for example, sendcast invoke, pass in the contract address, the function, and the call data. Okay, the arguments for that given function. So that's like the simpler or the overview of how DevNet works, or DevNet, the SendForge, and the SendCast. So this is going back for what we did the other side, that is like writing a simple Cairo program. We have already gone through that. And so for the contract, I will illustrate further on using these three different tools. That is Scab, the SendForge, and the SendCast along the way. But for now, the next thing that we'll be covering is Cairo itself. So we'll learn some Cairo before we get back to the contract. So we had already seen how to write a simple function on Cairo. That's the main function, and we printed hello Starknet. Here you can just print Starknet Cairo hello world, something like that. So under your lib file. So Scabo build also can help you build your Cairo programs. So if I go back to this main program here, I can still run the Scab build like cargo build, and you will get the Sierra file also in this case. And also after that, we have the run command. We have already seen how this works. For that, for the normal Cairo programs, you use scab Cairo run. And if somebody is still on Python, you might only be needing like to just type in Cairo run, the file name. But for this case, we just need to type scab Cairo run, and it will run the entire project that we have. So here we have Hello Starknet as we expect it to be from our main function here. So as I said, main or index usually mark the entry points. And for our contract, the main entry point for our contract is this module decorated by the Starknet contract attribute. And mod hello Starknet, anything that's decorated by this marks like the contract name also. So the mod hello Starknet is the contract name. So going forward, we have like this hands-on exercise where we are going to write, compile, deploy, and interact with your Cairo program. Write a simple Cairo program, compile the program, and run the program. This is just a simple exercise that I'd ask you to test out. So if you are you have been following through me, I'd ask you to write this up, and this will be your first assignment. Yesterday, I didn't send in an assignment. It was just basics, but today, this will be part of your assignment. So prep to write something, a simple Cairo program, and this program is only going to print out a few things. Just setting up the environment, as I did using Scab, then running it. That's what I'd expect. If you go deeper down and do something, that will be quite okay. So we have some resources here for further reading. That includes Cairo language, the book itself. So let me just open them and show you how to get to them. If you go to your browser and type in Scab, but rather Cairo, just search for Cairo book. It will give you the book.cairo.lang.org. That's where you get the Cairo book. So get started with this. So just click here, the get started, the installation. We have done that one, and we have also done like the running portion here where we did scab Cairo run, building your project, and then you use scab Cairo run to write. Otherwise, it also has like a symbol. Let's review the hello world, the explanation of everything that goes in there, and also the rest of the topics. That's the first resource that you want to check out. The other resource that I talked about earlier on was Starknet DevNet. So the Starknet DevNet resource are not this one here, but rather, so I'll find the right one here. So the DevNet, make sure it's the RS version that you're using. Don't use the Python version. This one will help you like sort of learn about DevNet, how it works and all those things. And another resource that you want to check out is the Starknet book. Let me search the right thing. Starknet book. Okay. docs.starknet.io will get you like now into the other portion of things. Cairo book just for writing Cairo language. Starknet book for other things. That's understanding Starknet, how it flows down and all those things. So the architecture of Starknet itself is also illustrated in here, how everything works. So mempools to the sequencer, to the prover, to the verifier. Once this one is correct, send it to a Starknet core. Anything reverted, return it as a reverted transaction and all those things. So everything is explained here down, the ones that you are trying to work, what are nodes and all those things. So let me get back here. The other one, Starknet. So another thing for support and help, I believe you have already joined the two communities, that is Beach in Africa and Kiboko DAO. So just post your questions about Starknet in those communities. Otherwise, we have the Starknet main communities, and if you go to starknet.io, you'll be able to find all that given out for you there. So that's for communities. Just go to the Discord community. This is where you can post the rest of the questions. And you'll be able to get like the different, you can be able to get help from them. So the Starknet.io website itself shows or prints out everything that you want to, that you need for you to develop, including tools and everything. Libraries for the different languages that you are familiar with, everything is here. So for this case, we have Starknet.rs, Rust SDK for Rust. For those with JavaScript, we have the JavaScript version, and we'll be using this one for our front end. We have Starknet.py if you want to interact with or integrate Starknet, maybe your contract listening for events on Python or on Go and Rust, and all those things, including one for JVM, Java, Kotlin, and Scala. And also the Dojo SDK is also listed here. Some other tool that I haven't touched a bit is this Remix plugin, or rather Remix itself. But I talked about it yesterday. You'll get everything listed here. So Remix also will help you quickly write your contract, deploy it on Starknet, and test it out immediately, just within the Remix IDE. So that's another advantage of Remix. Just make sure you have activated your Starknet plugin, otherwise nothing will work. With time, I'll also fully introduce the Stack Deployer platform that I've been working on, and how it can help you interact with your local node during development. This is also just another helper tool when you're writing maybe a very large contract that you just want to quickly test out before you even go to testnet. or before you go to testing it on the Explorer. Another thing I haven't touched is on these Explorers, if you go to a given contract, for example, if I go to, okay, let me go to these tokens and I click on a given token and go to the Ether token. This is a contract by default. If you don't know, anything usually is a contract by default. You can be able to interact with the contract from the Explorer. That's for Voyager. Just go to the contract and find the read functions and the write functions. Here you can be able to interact with it fully. Same with stack scan and block. Is it block? Something like to do with blocks. So same with the stack scan. You can interact with your contract from there. But before you even reach there, Starknet DevNet is there for you. And relatively Stack Deployer is also in that list. It can help you interact with your contract easily on local development mode. I'll share this the moment we reach this portion of smart contract development. I don't know whether there are any other questions, conclusions. So to recap what has happened today, we did learn how Starknet works. That is starting from somebody doing a transaction to it being recorded on Ethereum layer 1. And also we have gone through setting up our environment, that's the development environment, ready for development. And also we have done a few things, for example, writing a simple Cairo code using or initializing it using Scab, and also doing a simple contract, though we didn't interact with our contract, using SNForge. That's what we used to start our new contract with. So that is a deep dive into Starknet itself, setting up the development environment, and also doing a simple Cairo code or a Cairo program and writing a simple contract using SNForge. Any questions, you can post them if there are any. So if there are no questions, then I will revert this back to Harriet to take over. So adios.
Oh, thank you so much, Dalmas. That has been quite an incredible and insightful session, I must say. You have walked us through setting up the development environment, and I believe now we are ready to start building up on Starknet using the Cairo Programming Language going forward. That is from next week's sessions. I'm truly impressed by enthusiasm and engagement. The questions, keep dropping them. We'll be reviewing them even out after this session to address them first thing in the coming class. Hope and I believe that you are equally in the Kiboko DAO community, in the Beach in Africa developer community, where you can still ask questions. All of us are in those groups, so we'll be able to answer your questions even away from here, the YouTube link. So as always, we at Beach in Africa, offering the Starknet program in partnership with Kiboko DAO, we are always ready and willing to support you. Feel free to leave your questions. Like I've said, we shall be reviewing them and helping address. Somebody has just dropped a question there. He's having issues setting up a wallet. Before I close, Dalmas, is that something you are able to address right now?
Yeah. So if I may ask, which wallet are you trying to set up and what error are you getting specifically? Or I just redo setting up a wallet. I think that will be helpful. So let me redo the entire process of setting up a wallet. So I'll go to I'll just create a new profile here. Let me present my screen just a moment. So, okay. I don't know whether my screen is visible yet. Just a moment. I think I need to reshare this entire screen share. Is my screen visible for sure? Not really. Okay. Okay, sounds good. It's coming over. So we'll go to, yeah, it's there. So I'll just do like continue with that on account, create a new uh, test. So this is like a new, yeah, this is like a new Chrome profile, so as to quickly like do the setup from scratch. Once you have installed Bravos, so I'm going to search Bravos wallet. I'll do both the setups, so Bravos and Starknet. I'm going to download Bravos. I'm going to say Chrome because I'm on Chrome, then add to Chrome, add the extension. And also I'm going to search for, no thanks, got it. I'm going to first search for AgentX extension. And I'm going to go to the AgentX official website. And here I'm going to click, I'm going to use Chrome also, add extension. So once I have installed the two extensions, I'm going to pin them up here. So I'm going to pin AgentX and also pin Bravos. Once pinned those two for AgentX, so let's start with Bravos. I believe that was the first one to make things easier. Click on the Bravos wallet and create a new wallet. That is, if you have another Bravos wallet somewhere, just import a Bravos wallet. Something I don't leave. Okay. Okay, that's right. So something you need to know about these wallets is that if you try to import a wallet from AgentX to Bravos, it will not work. Or if you try to import from Bravos to AgentX, it will not work. Just make sure you import the wallet, the same wallet. So if you import Bravos, import a Bravos wallet. If it's AgentX, import AgentX wallet. So create a new wallet, enter your password. I've entered a very weak password there. Always enter strong password. Click next, then just repeat the password again to now log in into the wallets. And for those who don't know why we have to log into the extensions, the makers realized like if I have access to your machine during the day, maybe in the office, I can just access your extension, transfer the funds, and run away. So they tried to implement the password for privacy purposes to help you secure your wallets. So while Bravos is doing its thing, let's work on AgentX. So also click create new wallet, click agree, create your password. Always enter a good password, otherwise somebody will come and do the same thing to you. So I'm going to click on, okay, yeah, yesterday only clicked on standard account. I did not click on smart account. Reason being, a smart account will require you to enter an email, and also it has like 2FA. And the smart accounts cannot be used to sign transactions on some transactions, not all transactions, some transactions. For example, you cannot use a smart account to deploy an account. Yeah, that's an example for that transaction. Otherwise, a standard account can do everything a smart account can do. Smart account is a good example of account abstraction. It hides the seed phrases from you, and also you can recover your account if it's lost. That's because you had set up an email for recovery. So I'm going to set up a standard account, click continue, and click finish. So everything's good to go. So I have an Agentex account. I can show the recovery phrase, otherwise it's not a good idea. Our Bravos wallet, I'm not sure whether it's ready. I'm not in the mood of showing this one about. Okay, I'm not sure why it did that one. So I'll have to create a new wallet. Anyway, let me just proceed it with the same. Next, just copy. I have agreed to this. Continue. Let's start. So once you are here, just click on the deposit, and under deposit, you're going to be asked to. You can use one the ramping services to have some value or add some tokens into your wallet, etc. Some bridges here. That is for mainnet, but if you are on Sepolia, proceed. It said for Sepolia you can just get some faucets from Blast. So if I click deposit, it will show you where to get the faucets from. That includes from Starknet official link or from Blast. Those are the two places where you can get those faucets from. Otherwise, you can ask somebody to send you some faucets. Just send them your wallet. It goes the same to mainnet. Just click on Sepolia, then just click a standard account, and everything will be good to go for you. So you have that. Once you have like set up your wallet like this, you need to fund your wallet to deploy it to mainnet. By default, the created account or the created contract, because this is an account contract, is not set up on chain. It has already been declared. It's somewhere, but not ready for use. You need to deploy your account on chain. To deploy your account on chain, make sure your account is funded. And for this case, for Agentex, just click on, I'm going to copy my address first. I'll just agree, done. I'm going to copy my address like this and click fund. And then I'm going to get some test ETH from Sepolia faucet. Then click on one of these faucets. So go to the foundation link, and I'm not a robot, motorcycles. I think I should select everything here. So you have to prove you're not a robot by doing that. Okay, failed that one. I might remain here for long, but I'll try to quickly move out. Okay. This capture can destroy your day, but try to be quick. If you make it quick, it will quickly move you out. So it's going to process my transaction. So it says the transaction sent, and if I go to Agentex now, you give it a few more minutes, a few seconds. Now we have our Ethereum here. Now you're supposed to deploy your account on chain. As I said, for Agentex, just click on the account one here. If you hover over your first account, click on these settings there. So click on them like that. Then you will come to the account settings. This is like the initial short settings of this given account. Click on the deploy account link or method there. Then click confirm. Now that you have some ETH, you can now deploy your account. That's it for Agentex. Now it will tell you it's deploying. Same for Bravos. Just copy your account. Is it on Sepolia? Proceed. Just copy your account. Get some faucets. So for this case, let's confirm whether this one has deployed. Yeah, this one has been deployed. So I'm going to send some faucets from here to the other side. and I'm going to send 0.01, review send, and I confirm. And you'll realize like the cost of sending, it's kind of very, very low. Now I have sent some faucets here. We give them a few seconds and they should appear in just a moment. The transaction is completed. That means it should be appearing here. Also on this specific page, one way is you could, if you can, like sort of swap the tokens. If I decide to swap the token, it will deploy the account. So let's just do swap instead. So that's how the transaction, if the account has not been deployed, it will start by deploying the account, then doing the swap. Otherwise, just go there and click on settings over there. And once you have clicked on settings, the account here, click on the setting cog or the cog icon there. Then here you will be able to see a link to sort of deploy account. Because we have done the swapping, that's why we don't see the deploy or set up account on chain. So we are just directing to the normal settings. Otherwise, it's because we did the swap. That means it deployed our account first, then did the swap later. So we have done the swapping. So that's how to set up an account on Sepolia testnet for both Bravos and Agentex. For mainnet, it's the same procedure. Just make sure you ask somebody to send you some stack or to send you some ETH. Then you can be able to set up your account on chain. With the time, if you reach that level of setting up your account on chain, then I think there will get some help for those few tokens of setting up your account on chain. I think I've fully answered the question asked about setting up an account. Another question, otherwise I'll let it drop back to you, Harriet.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Dalmas. The beauty about it is you've demonstrated and the video is here. They can always revisit the link so that, to watch again the procedure of setting up the development environment, setting up the wallet. Thank you so much for that insightful session, Mr. Dalmas and the rest of the team. We are grateful. Kindly subscribe to the Beach in Africa YouTube channel. Ensure you belong to the communities. Beach in Africa, Kiboko DAO. Also, you may follow Starknet on the socials. Thank you so very much. Kindly let's meet in our next class, which will be on Monday. You can also share this news and information to your friends, to your network, so that they can also join the classes next week. Thank you so much for that. I'll call it the end of today's class. We connect again on Monday, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. West African time, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. East African time. Thank you so much. Bye.